love the chase and the hunt.
Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at what is resizable bar and check to see if it's worth the effort to enable it. So what is resizable bar? Resizable bar is an optional PCI Express interface technology. Using resizable bar, assets can instead be requested as needed and sent in full, so the CPU can efficiently access the entire frame buffer. And if multiple requests are made, transfers can occur concurrently rather than queuing. So, is this available only on nvidia GPUs? The answer is no. AMD and Intel GPUs make use of it as well. AMD calls it Smart Access Memory, aka SAM, instead of resizable base address register, aka resizable bar. Resizable bar is a feature available on nvidia 30 and 40 series, AMD 6000 and 7000 series, and Intel Arc series. In order to be able to use this feature, you need a CPU that can enable it. So you will need a CPU from AMD starting with the 5000 series, and on the Intel side starting from 10th generation. If you have one of these CPUs or a newer one, make sure that this feature is enabled in BIOS. Usually with newer BIOS versions, this feature is enabled by default. You can check to see if it's enabled from Windows by opening the nvidia control panel and clicking on the system information. Here we can see if resizable bar is enabled or not. In order to be able to use nvidia ReBAR on any game, you will need to go to this GitHub repo and save the zip file on your computer. Make sure to save the latest one. The link will be in the description. Once you unzip the saved file, you will have 3 files in the folder. You will just need to launch the .exe file. And this is the application. It has the option to restore to the nvidia defaults. The profile will make changes to it. So no need to worry if you change something and you don't remember the initial settings. Now let's look at some profiles created by nvidia that have ReBAR enabled. These are far between. Unlike AMD, which enables by default this feature for any game and it blacklists the game if the game has issues, nvidia has every game blacklisted and it enables the ReBAR per game after it performs internal testing. Here we have some performance numbers for the 30 series in games where ReBAR was enabled. Not all games will exhibit this performance bump, as we will shortly see. nvidia has a small list of games that it has made ReBAR enabled by default, as it can be seen here in the list. I could not find a list with the latest games that the driver 528.24 has ReBAR enabled, and searching through all the profiles in the application is too time consuming. Here I'm not moving, I'm just standing still with ReBAR off. Have a look at the frame rate. Let's enable ReBAR for this game, as it is not whitelisted by nvidia, therefore ReBAR is disabled. Now I'm gonna show you the nvidia profile for this game. Even though ReBAR is enabled in BIOS and it shows in the nvidia control panel enabled as well, the profile disabled this feature. So let's enable it. I'm using these settings that can be seen here for all other games that will be tested in this video. Now let's have a look at the performance improvement. Here we have side-by-side video runs. As it can be seen here, we have good performance uplift when enabling ReBAR in this game. Now I can't say that this applies in every area of the game, but I played the game for around 30 minutes and it seems that it performs better with ReBAR enabled. Let's update the profile for another game, Plague Tale Requiem. This one as well is not whitelisted by nvidia, so ReBAR is disabled. Let's enable it and see if there are any improvements. Again, I added a side-by-side comparison, with ReBAR on being on the left. In this game there is no performance uplift when a ReBAR is enabled, but no performance loss as well, so it could be set to enable as default. There are some moments where we see higher frames with ReBAR on and some where we see lower frames, but the averages at the end of this run are almost the same, as you'll soon see. I am not sure why in some moments rebar on has lower frames than rebar off. I try to do my best in synchronizing the two videos, but this one seems to be a miss. So here you can see the benchmark configuration and the drivers version used to run these games. When it comes to the Callisto protocol, enabling rebar didn't help at all, but didn't hurt as well. Averages and the 1% lows are the same. When it comes to Civilization 6, we have a bump in performance when enabling rebar. Averages in this game have improved by 20 frames, so more than 5% uplift, which I didn't expect as this is the oldest game. I was not expecting it to take advantage of rebar as this is not a demanding game. When it comes to Watch Dogs Legion, this game has rebar enabled by default as it's on the list of nvidia rebar enabled games. When I did disable it, I barely lost any performance. I was expecting a bit more performance loss as nvidia highlighted a good performance uplift for the 30 series. That space is a big surprise. As we saw in the side-by-side comparison earlier in the video, there is a big performance uplift when enabling rebar for this game. Nvidia should look into this one and should whitelist it. The performance increase is around 20% when enabling rebar. The 1% lows have improved as well. When it comes to Forspoken, this game doesn't show any improvements when enabling rebar. For this result, I use the internal benchmark as it has a lot of loading screens between benchmark scenes, and this can impact the overall results if using MSI Afterburner to record the performance. This is why we have 0 frames when it comes to 1% lows. The last game I looked at is the Plague Tale Requiem. As we saw in the side-by-side run, there is not much difference between rebar on and off when it comes to frames. There were scenes when we saw more frames with rebar on and some with rebar off, but at the end of the bench run, the averages are the same. There are a few games that get a significant performance uplift when enabling rebar, but seems that there is no performance loss. More games need to be tested to better understand the norm. I hope that with time, nvidia will enable rebar for more games, or at least have an option in nvidia control panel to enable it per game in order not to use third-party apps to do so. I still don't understand why nvidia is not doing what AMD is doing by setting rebar on by default and only disabling it when there is performance loss. I hope that nvidia listens to the community, as I saw some Reddit threads asking for rebar to be an option for on-off in the graphic driver. Time will tell if they follow suit. I hope this video helped a bit in order for you guys to know how you can enable rebar on nvidia GPUs. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up button.